Welcome to Washington East to West Sports, technically episode 72 right now. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Kevin Ardall and Sean Beatty. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet at us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean_Beatty. Kev is at Kev's Believe the First Name Believes being a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube and let us know what you think in the comments below. This is an emergency episode because we recorded last night and we were just kind of talking about Rashad Penny possibly being franchise tag, and we thought that might have been the worst thing possible, but we were clearly very wrong about that. If you haven't heard the news and you're in a weird media bubble for some reason, Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos. I just got done eating, so I don't have the details in front of me right now, but 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a fifth, Drew Lock, a defensive lineman, and Noah Fant. Who's the defensive lineman?
Or no, Harris.
And then the Broncos get a 4th rounder, and Russell Wilson. So quite a day to react to. And then as I am driving home, I get a text from Sean and I's mom saying Russell and Bobby in the same day, brutal. And I'm like, wait, Bobby? Because I was out kind of, unfortunately, siren chasing, but which amounted to nothing. But yeah, I didn't see it until I was in the parking lot of Five Guys on Twitter. So let's just go around and get some reactions. Sean, tell me what you're thinking right now.
Of the whole thing, of just the whole thing, not just one or the other.
All right. Here, we'll start with Russ. We'll start with Russ.
I mean, I'll say removing. I think I talked on this podcast. It was, what was it, during the season when Pete got his contract last year. Sorry, I think I made the call and I'll make it again. I said when Russell got his deal and had the mumblings in the offseason, and I talked about on the podcast that is not yet posted here, but we recorded yesterday. There have been mumblings for a while. I thought Russell would move on before his contract, and I thought it was going to be next offseason. And then it will be a struggle bus for a while, and then Pete will leave before his contract is expired. I think that's still going to happen, unfortunately. I think we are going to, and a lot of Seahawks fans are in for a reawakening because it wasn't that long ago we were bad. Teams in the NFL win with franchise quarterbacks. That is the way you have sustained success in the NFL. Yeah, you might get like a Nick Foles type year, but the Eagles are trying to trade for Russell Wilson 3 years later. Like, they're not good and need a quarterback. Like, success without a elite or good quarterback or great quarterback is really hard to do 2 years in a row or 2 years in the next any 10-year span. All those teams, like you're talking about, the Carolina Panthers, where are they right now? The Atlanta Falcons, where are they right now? When you don't have these great quarterbacks, you don't have the sustained success. You can have a 1 year lucky run, but that's it. How you have sustained success is a elite quarterback. And I was going to talk about this later, but I guess now is as good a time as any to talk about it because I didn't think Russell would get traded this year. I was listening to a podcast that had kind of a meta analysis, and I talked to Kevin about this a little bit. It used grades, it used every available metric, kind of like advanced ones that we had. It had SIS incorporated in it. It had now I'm drawing a blank on all of them. It had COPE, Dakota, it had EPA, it had all of them, and it compiled them over 4 years. And it took, because you can have an outlier year like Lamar Jackson, but it took 4 years of all quarterbacks that have played for 4 years, and it compiled them into a stat. And do you guys want to guess where Russell Wilson landed on that list?
The best.
Legitimate guess. Where did Russell land?
Well, you already told me.
6.
Kevin knows. He landed third, he landed 4th, but Tom Brady was 3rd, so he was retired, so he's 3rd. Behind Mahomes and Rodgers. He's elite. And they had categories and tiers, and he was the last of the elite category. Now, only Josh Allen was in the category because his first 2 years were so bad. He will be in the category probably by next year, but still, there's some things. But so he's undoubtedly an elite quarterback. And trading that guy, all the other people on that list of elite and borderline elite are going to playoffs every year, winning 10 games. We are now removing that from the equation and are becoming these teams that are looking for the elite guy. And some of these teams, the Browns, the Jets, the Bears have been looking for 40 years. Like, I mean, like
The Dolphins.
exactly. Like since Dan Marino, like this is a hard thing to do. And for us to trade and be like, oh, we're going to get 2 first-round picks, it's going to be easy. It doesn't matter what you do with those picks. You need a quarterback for sustained success. You can get a great defense like Baltimore Ravens in 2000 and maybe get lucky 1 year, and it will take luck to win without a quarterback. But they didn't do shit the next, 14 years until they got Joe Flacco. And he wasn't even then. It was kind of got lucky too, and then they didn't do shit again. Like trading away a guy who is elite and guaranteed 10 wins is a really hard thing to do. And one more thing before I pass it to Kevin, an analogy I made, I was saving it for later, but I heard someone reiterate it. The thing is elite quarterbacks get you to the playoffs. The difference in a lot of the cases, like with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, is that is when your coaching and your supplemental talent around you really elevates the team. The quarterback's job, in a sense, is to get you there, but everybody at a certain point has that elite guy or has a good quarterback. And then it kind of becomes what is around the quarterback. Because, like when you get to like the playoffs, Josh Allen and Mahomes are great, but then they play in the playoffs against each other. And then it's going to take who else on that team is going to step up and make the play, because those two guys, are going to go at it. But then who else? Like what defense is going to step up? Like a Joe Burrow. Well, Cincinnati's defense stepped up in the second half. That was the difference. Like when Matthew Stafford played Tom Brady, the Stafford made the play at the end and their defense did enough. The supplemental pieces there. And I don't even trust the Seahawks to do the supplemental pieces right. So I'm just, it's a sad day for Seattle. It's very, very sad.
Kevin?
I'm going to try to keep it together on this. I'm going to start off by now announcing my new Twitter handle that Adam Gase is smarter than Pete Carroll, because it's absolutely true. Pete Carroll is now the stupidest head coach to ever exist in the National Football League, which is saying a lot because there's been some fucking dumbass coaches. To quote Jay Keeps, we got shafted on this trade, pure and simple. Like, I don't give a crap if we got 3 players and 5 picks.
I mean, 2 of the players kind of suck.
Yeah. Shelby Harris is the name of the defensive end that we got, by the way.
He's the one I like, by the way. The other 2 kind of suck.
Yeah. He is a Hall of Fame franchise quarterback. You know what the Dolphins would do to have that in their hands? They would sacrifice half their fans' testicles to have that. Like, and this is why I'm saying Pete Carroll is stupid, because he just doesn't get football. He thinks, and I've been saying this for damn near fucking 2 years, he thinks we're in 1984. He doesn't understand quarterback play. His talent evaluation is terrible, and he doesn't understand the game today. He doesn't. Period. Like, this fucking shows it. For all you skeptics out there that were trying to argue with us through over the years and shit like that, this is the final nail in the coffin. If you're saying that it still is, you're just fucking oblivious. Like, he does not get today's NFL game. He doesn't get it. He's 70 years old. He probably has CTE or some form of fucking mental illness, and it should have been taken away. And also, I'm going to get to Jody Allen's fucking ass in a moment. Her stupid bitch ass.
Whoa.
It's just unacceptable. Like, to screw over a franchise this badly. I mean, we've been sucking for
that's not. But I will say one thing for Jody. She didn't hire Pete. She's not a football person.
That's the thing. Do something about it, though. Stop being lazy, though. If you don't know anything
that's not her
about
job. That's not her
product,
primary job. She didn't sign up for the job. She got the job because there was not anybody else. Like,
then give the fucking team away to somebody who does.
But Kevin, that opens the door of moving the team. like that's the problem. Like, you don't just
gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It can't happen.
No, I don't think the Seahawks are going anywhere.
Well, I mean, down the road, it happened almost once back in the 90s.
And the Allen family saved it. You're just like, give it up, Allen family.
I think most Seattle teams have almost moved it.
Clearly, Jody Allen has no fucking interest in the team.
the example you literally gave is why the Sonics are gone. Like, get the team away, and then the Sonics left. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's a very, just give it away is a very scary thing.
I know, but like at the same time too, she clearly doesn't give a crap about
Kevin,
it.
there's a lot of people who agree this was the correct move is the problem. Like,
Oh, I know.
to say that she doesn't care, maybe she either doesn't understand or chooses to believe the other thing. Like, I'm just saying, like.
But do you want somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing owning your franchise?
To us, she doesn't know what she's doing, or Pete doesn't know what he's doing. But to other people, Pete
No. I'm not talking about Pete. I'm talking about Jody. Talking about Jody. Jody owns the team.
She is she the majority owner?
Yes. All the shares of Paul go to her.
Well, she is saying
And
that
Paul's
she
the
got them, but
majority
again,
owner.
like she didn't make that call. She's not a football person. Like, that's not. She just inherited it and is going to leave it status quo. That's what's going to happen.
She's going to leave it to the next person down, which is Pete Carroll.
Yeah, that was what's going to happen the entire time.
Like, but if you give it to somebody who does know about football, they might take.
Most owners don't know anything about football, Kevin. They don't care about football. Like, we're doing that with the MLB owners. They don't care. They care about money.
No, but I'm saying it could have been a different situation. We'll get to that.
Also, could be the Sonics.
Like, I know it could have been the Sonic situation.
I'd rather keep Pete Carroll and the Seahawks in Seattle than the other.
Yes, of course. But at the same time, too, we have just screwed this franchise over for a minimum of 6 years. I mean, we'll get to that.
Barring some very lucky things, yes, I agree.
Yes. Yeah, Pete Carroll. I don't understand his obsession with the run game, and that's why I was a little worried last year. Like, Rashad Penny has 100 yards, and he was so enthusiastic about how great it was, and I was just like, God, that scares the living shit out of me. And he's like, we're going to change up the offense. And then they just fed him more. Like that one game they lost in the Rams, they're going to change up the offense. And they fed Penny more. And I'm like, no. Like, I remember we said it on the podcast. Go back and look at it. I thought they were going to let Russell have it a little bit more. And they're like, nope, we're just going to feed Penny. And Penny had another 100-yard game. And he was just like, oh. Like, it's so, oh God. Okay. Drawing it in because I have like the rage. I feel bad for Russell because he deserved better. I hope he just fucking goes ham just to show the world that Pete Carroll's a fucking idiot. And he might. I mean, that they have a better offensive line. Jerry Jeudy, Hamlin. Hamlin still has to show a lot of stuff, and Jeudy has to stay healthy. But I mean, they still could do some stuff. I mean, Russell's done more with less, anywho. So all they have to do is just throw it, which they probably will. Especially in that fucking division. We'll get to that also in a little bit. Yeah, all in all, is it probably one of the worst trades in sports history? Probably, in my opinion. Others may disagree, and that's fine. We got shafted pretty hard. You don't trade a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime for uncertainty, and a hot garbage quarterback, at least so far with the Broncos, which is sad because I liked his college tape, but college, like I said, college tape isn't always everything.
I liked him too, so I don't want to throw Kevin on the bus by himself.
Yeah. I mean, a tight end that seemed good for a little bit, maybe he can come back and get a little bit better. I don't know. And then a defensive end who's like, meh. So, yeah, it's very, the future seems very dim. And honestly too, even though, okay, we don't have all the details yet, but for all the people saying we're so disappointed in John, stop. It is Pete Carroll's decision, and Pete's alone. It has been. He is the top dog. It's going to be his puppy. We've seen it with how he runs his team and coaches before. You think he's going to let John? I mean, he might include John in a little bit, but in the end, it's Pete Carroll's decision, boys and girls, flat out. And it was his decision to do it. So if anything, don't be pissed off at John. John can't do anything. John could have literally said, no, fuck you, Pete. We got to keep him, type of deal. You're an idiot, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. It's Pete Carroll's decision, period. He has no authority over him because of what Paul Allen did. And that's that. And that's that until 2025, folks. We fucking warned you about it on this podcast when we re-signed his ass. We warned, even before then, we fucking warned you. Like, this is what happens. Mark this day, 3/8/2022, is one of the worst days in Seattle sports history. So, and there's been a lot. There's been a lot. But you will come back to, and I'm kind of partially excited too a little bit because I'm ready to see all the fucking idiots out there that I've been seeing them like, oh, Trey Russell and stuff like that. This team could be fine. I'm going to watch them eat fucking crow, and it's going to be glory. It's going to be the only thing that kind of gets me through this other than bowling and hopefully the Mariners fucking doing things, is watching these ignorant 30 IQ motherfuckers eat fucking shit and try to turn
Usually
their own
I'd say
shit
slow
around.
down on the cussing, Kevin, but today it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Viewer discretion is advised. There's a lot
Kevin,
of,
that was 5 F-bombs ago.
Yeah. Viewer discretion advised. There's going to be a lot of cursing in this emergency episode. So
you'll curse some more. FYI, Tyler Lockett is officially rumored to be on the trading block as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I already saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're taking calls for him.
Yeah.
So, and I don't blame. Honestly, and I wouldn't be surprised if DK Metcalf wants to get the F out. Like,
I don't think he'll get the, but he's got to be leaving. I mean,
oh yeah, he's not going to resign. Fuck no.
Like, yeah.
Why would he resign?
Yeah.
Like, he wants to go. He wants to do big things. He wants to get 1,000-yard seasons. That's gone now. Like,
you don't
he'll
think
be lucky to make 700 yards next season. Like, sorry folks, because we're going to be pounding that ball. Ugh. Hope you guys like running the ball and punting. You're going to see a lot of Michael Dixon next season. So I'll pass it off to Matt.
Yeah, I was at work when I was on Twitter and that popped up on Adam Schefter's timeline, and I was quite surprised. And my editor is a Utah native and a Broncos fan, so we both kind of caught eyes and were like, "What?" And he when I talked to him about it, he was mostly excited because it is absolutely an upgrade from what he has. But last year he predicted that, this last season, he predicted the Seahawks would finish last. And he was right. And he just said that the roster as a whole is just not as good as he thought it was. And he just doesn't think the quarterback was as good as he thought it was, but he's still very happy to have Russ on his team. I don't care about the blame game. I'm not going to get into that. You guys can do that if you want to, like you did, but I'm just going to talk about how I felt about Russ. Obviously drafted in 2011, third round, and he's done a lot of great things for this franchise. Brought him the first Super Bowl, very close to a second one, and this last decade, other than the last season, has been awesome. I mean, won a lot of games. People complain about playoff wins the last 5 years. Cool. Like, sure, you can complain about that, but the fact that we're there is great because the future doesn't look good in that aspect. So, him and Bobby were two of the last players on the team from the Super Bowl team, and now they're both gone. So just focusing on Russ. I mean, future Ring of Honor member, future Hall of Famer. A lot of great memories with Russ on this team. So nothing but love for Russ going to Denver, and I hope he does well there. I hope he does very well there because, obviously I'm a Seahawks fan, but the players that come through, you have no hatred for them unless they do bad things, of course. But generally speaking, any Seahawks player that comes, plays well on the field and puts their all in, you can't help but wish them well going on to wherever they move on to. And we knew this day was coming. I think we all kind of knew it might be later rather than right now. Especially after last year, I kind of felt like the writing was on the wall. And so, Russ had a no trade clause. He waived it for this. So clearly he wanted to go. And as a fan, I love Russ. And the that's what he wants to do, I'll support him, and hopefully he does well in Denver. And if he wanted to stay, if he truly wanted to stay, he could have said no. But I don't blame him for leaving. It's his career. He controls his own destiny, and if he thinks this is what's best for his career, that's fine. We had a good run for the last 10 years, and but we'll see you sometime this next year, because I know the Broncos, I believe, come to Lumen Field, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't sure if that was quite set yet, but yeah, it's it's tough when players leave that leave a lasting legacy on your team, and the same will definitely be said for Bob, and we'll get to that. But overall, I don't want to overreact to this, because I don't know what this team's going to look like come training camp. I really have no idea. It's like you guys said, Tyler might be gone, DK might be gone. Honestly, it's kind of like we talked about with the Kraken on yesterday's podcast. We're not sure who's going to be here, so I'm not going to jump to speculation on how good they're going to be. First reaction is it's not going to be great, but we'll see what team they put together. And my position on this during the season was I want them all to go, or I want no one to go. And I thought it was going to be no one. I'm not happy that it's just one guy. Now, from a perspective of Pete and John, I think this is a last-ditch move to save their jobs, personally, because they're trying to build assets, draft some players, and see what they can do, because I think they probably know in the back of their heads one more bad season and they're out. And I say that because Jody Allen cleaned house with the Portland Trailblazers recently. So they traded everybody but Damian Lillard. So I thought that's why Russell would be safe in this case as the superstar, but I was wrong in that aspect. So I'm not sure what this team is going to look like. I'm not sure how they're going to spend their draft picks. I'm not sure who's going to be playing quarterback. But right now, it is a sad day for Seattle, as Sean said. So enjoy the memories that you had, and we'll see what happens come August. But right now, it's just a sad day. Just a sad day. So let's move on to Bobby really quick. That's the more recent and raw news. Again, I'm going to try not to overreact. Same thing with Bobby on the defensive side of the ball. Like, came in as I believe a second round pick at a Utah State. It's been the captain of the defense ever since he's come in as a rookie. And him and KJ Wright were 1-2 on the linebacking core, and KJ was gone last year, and now Bobby is released. I don't know if that means he might come back. It doesn't sound like that's the case. No. But again, same with Bobby. Ring of Honor immediately, Hall of Fame, I'm sure. So it's I'm sure Seahawks fans are hurting. That's fine, and that's expected, because it's a tough day when two of the franchise's main players for the last 10 years contributed to so many winning seasons and wins and great plays and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be tough no matter when they leave. So Bobby will, I'm sure, go on to have some success for the rest of his career somewhere else, wherever he decides to go. Or if he decides to hang it up, I don't think he's going to hang it up, but you never know. So Bobby and Russ, it was fun while it lasted. But as the business side of this is, and as Father Time always catches up, players are going to end up leaving one way or another. So Sean, what do you think?
I got a crazy stat. This will sum it up. So I'm not a big tackles is a very good stat guy. It's not a very good stat, but this still is just the league leader in tackles since 2005 is Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner didn't start playing football till 2012. Bobby Wagner's really good at football. That's insane. He's spotted everybody else 8 years. He's very good at football. And it's for people who say Bobby Wagner. I saw a lot of, especially starting the Green Bay game, because of a certain podcast and two individuals who say that I have issues with, not like obviously personal, just I disagree with their football takes, but they said that Bobby Wagner's washed, and then the Packers game happened and Bobby Wagner got ran over by AJ Dillon on the 1 yard line. Turns out he's almost 260 pounds and he ran over a bunch of people all year and was the second most efficient running back in football this year. Turns out he's really good. But Bobby Wagner in advanced stats, the total point stats that evaluates how good a player is. Bobby Wagner was the 5th best linebacker in all football. That includes not people who line up in linebacker. That includes linebackers, air quotes, that are actual defensive ends that rush the passer. So Von Millers, TJ Watts, all those type of guys, Chandler Jones. Bobby Wagner was the 5th or 6th best linebacker ever. Anybody that has the title there, not actual linebackers, but linebackers in total points. He is still like elite. Now, yes, he's losing a step, but he is very, very good at football still. And it's just, he's making a lot of money, but you're cutting this person to, in theory, make room for high budget moves, like signing a franchise quarterback, but you just traded the franchise quarterback. Like I see a stat here that the Seahawks have, what is it? The number of the biggest deals that the Seahawks have here, out of their top 6 deals, 2 of them is the kicker and their punter. Like, they're not spending money in the right places. It's Jamal Adams, Tyler Lockett, Shelby Harris, who they traded for, Gabe Jackson, and Jason Myers and Michael Dixon in that order. You're saving money to spend on what? Jason Myers? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you better do something with this money then. Like, Corks Tom Brady out of retirement or something with this money. I don't know what you're going to, Peyton Manning. Like, I'll take somebody, but like, saving money, you better spend the freaking money is all I got to say.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on Bobby?
Yeah, it's sad for him to go. We kind of touched on it a couple of podcasts ago. I would have liked to see him sign for like a 2 to 3 year deal. The move makes sense had they kept Russell, because it cleared up money to go get like O-linemen to protect Russell. But now that Russell's gone, it makes no sense, in my opinion, because like, sure, you have a Jordan Brooks, but like coming off of like his best year, but like consistency.
You have to pay him for 2 years.
Yeah, like that's 1
Bobby's
year.
contract's gone, and then anyways, like
and honestly too, like he could suck butt next year. We don't know. Like he could get hurt. Like it's Bobby. We know is consistent. Yeah, sure, he got hurt, week 18, but it was like a small little thing. It wasn't super crazy big. And he's what, 32, 31, 32? So I mean, yeah, sure.
I thought he was 33.
he's the same age as Russ, so
Was
like
he?
33, 34, yeah.
Yeah, we're Googling this.
Yeah. Because Russ just turned 33 and he's older than Bobby.
Oh, Bobby's 31.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still good. Like, as Sean already mentioned, like, yeah, sure, Father Time's going to catch up with him a little bit, but like, it's not to say that he's not still going to play very well. And to like, just be like, all right, well, we're going to hand it off to Brooks because he had a really good year. They'd be like, okay, you better hope and pray that it works out, because it hasn't worked out when you've done shit like that before.
But like, they have Barton and Brooks now. That's it. What you couldn't sign KJ last year.
Does BBK come back from the dead and he's your third?
Those are your 3 guys you're gonna run out there from 2 years ago. You had KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner. You're gonna run those 3 guys out there now? Oh my gosh.
Well, they're gonna have what's his face, because they had what's his face, or I mean that, or by some weird coincidence, you bring Jamal Adams down to linebacker,
or Daryl Taylor's gonna,
or Daryl Taylor plays it like he was doing, like,
but like,
which is weird.
he's
but
barely playing though. Like now you're gonna make him change positions and like, I just like, what are we doing?
I mean, what you should do is have Jamal Adams be your third and then play Blair as safety. That's what you should do. It would make more sense. But I mean, we know Pete's dumb, as I've already kind of explained in the beginning of this podcast. So that's not going to happen. All in all, I love what he's done. And to comment, I'm not mad at Russell or Bobby. There are people out there like, there was one person who's like, oh, I'm going to give my fucking Russell Wilson jersey to the Goodwill. It'll be down here if you want, or, at this address if you want. I'm like, why? I'm like, he gave you a ring. Like,
Yeah, I got a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
So average money wise, I was looking at it.
Okay.
Who do you rank right now in linebackers.
Okay.
Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, or Levante David. In what order? Where does Jamal Adams fall on that list if you make him a linebacker?
Probably fourth.
Because he makes the same as Bobby Wagner.
I would say fourth.
So say he makes the same as Bobby Wagner. So basically, Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams made the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So we went to Bobby Wagner, who was an elite linebacker for 10 years. And we're going to pay Jamal Adams the same to try to be a Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
When you had Bobby Wagner.
Now I'm saying, is that what we should do? Fuck no,
Exactly.
we should keep Bobby
Like,
Wagner.
no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're hoping Jamal Adams could be a guy like Bobby Wagner when your team has fucking Bobby Wagner. You
Right.
don't need to. You don't have the team that needs the Bobby Wagner. You have Bobby Wagner.
This all in all is a safe face for Pete, even though it doesn't save face, which is funny, like at all. People were like, "Oh, it's the last." Oh, I guess even what Matt was mentioning, it's the last day show for the save. It's a nail in the coffin for them to be fired later on, because it's not going to make them better at any means necessary at all. Like this, they are way worse than what they were at the end of the season. Like in no way does this make this team better at all. It gives no hope. Like, sure, we could draft great and well, but the players still have to pan out. Like versus having a Hall of Fame franchise quarterback and a Hall of Fame linebacker. Like it just boggles my mind of what is going on in Pete's CTE head. I don't understand. Other than dementia and a whole lot of not thinking. And just playbacks of the good years of the Raiders running the football or something. I have no idea what's going on in that old man's head. But what do you do with this money now? You've saved money with Russell and now you've saved money with Bobby. Where do you spend this? Like, are you going to go out and just try to make an elite defense? Are you going to go ape shit in free agency and like go get big name players like Von Miller or something like that along that line and bring them in? Like, what is the plan? And then you just get a rookie quarterback and then hope it like pans out. Because honest to God, and as Sean already commented on Mina Kimes' tweet, like go get like a Willis or somebody in this draft. Because honestly, we know what we have in Drew Lock. It's not great, folks. Like Pete Carroll isn't a quarterback guru by any means. He's not going to turn him around. So, if anything, if I wanted any of them, I'd rather have Bridgewater, which I don't want either of them, to be honest, because they're both not great. But I'd rather have Bridgewater because he's kind of more of a game manager. But I mean, I guess it doesn't take a whole lot to hand the ball off 80% of the time to the running back or whatever running back you have in that field. But
so Kevin, let me stop you right there. So go ahead and tell us what your thoughts are of Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner. I'm at Matt. Sean's at Sean Brady. Kev's at Kesley, with the first E being a 3. Whew. Getting all choked up here. So 2022, now they have the number 9 overall pick. What do you guys want them to do, and what do you think they will do with that number 9 overall pick?
So
I do think they are going to draft a quarterback with that number 9 pick. I think that is their plan. I think they will probably take Willis, either that or Matt Corral. I think those are their 2 guys that they would choose at this point. What I think they should do is, it seems like they're trying to lean into the defense, although we don't know who's signing what or whatever with Diggs and Reed and all the moving parts. I actually want them to draft an offensive lineman. Although that would just be kind of like a big dick move now that you trade
block for like,
I mean, to block for whoever is back there, like whoever they decide is back there. Because I don't think, I mean, I'll ask you guys, do you think Drew Lock is going to be the starting quarterback week 1? I do not think that will be the case. I think they're going to either sign someone or draft someone. If you're asking me to put money on it, I think Willis would be their starting quarterback week 1. Sean, what do you think?
I have a take that I've been seeing. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but there's people who have called what happened, aka Richard Sherman. He called what happened to Bobby. Bobby tweeted at him, said, I can't remember the exact.
Prophet.
You're a prophet.
Profit.
Richard Sherman and some other people have said that this is because the Seahawks are going after Deshaun Watson. They're acquiring assets enough to go after Deshaun Watson and sign Deshaun Watson.
I don't know. That's
I mean, like,
it's I don't know what it is like.
if I had to guess now, I would say it's more likely that Deshaun Watson is their starting quarterback week 1 than Drew Lock. Do I think either of those are the likeliest scenario? I'll probably take the field over those two, but that's my way of saying I agree with Matthew that it's not likely Drew Lock as a starting quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see them.
Yeah,
If they put Drew Lock in there, that they just are phoning it in to get the next year.
Are they tanking Matthew then?
I don't know about tanking. I think they're trying to rebuild.
I think
something.
They're burning it down and losing on purpose for the next year.
But I think they're gone if it's so bad next year. I think they're gone. Like,
I don't know.
So yeah. I mean, is Deshaun Watson a good quarterback? Absolutely, but
if you
is it worth it? I don't think so.
Especially Russell Wilson type and bring in Deshaun Watson, regardless of play on the field, that would really hurt my Seahawks fandom. Like, not gonna lie there. Like, just from who they are off the field, like that would really hurt my Seahawks fandom. Like, in one offseason you do it too. Like that would really question me being a Seahawks.
Because Deshaun is what, 26, 27 at this point? So
well, I mean, he's also gonna get suspended too. So like, for how long? Who knows? But he's 26. He will be 27 at the start of the season. He's like 7 years younger.
Boy, if Sherm's right on that, that's also very profiteering.
Deshaun Watson also like was ranked really high in that meta analysis that I listed, but he did not count. He would have been third. But anyways, but he did not count in the list because he didn't play the last year. So, but I mean, he's good, undeniably, but like I don't really want him on my team, to be honest. Like 28 accounts, like why? Like make a stand. Make a stand here rather than Calvin Ridley betting $1,500 on a football game. How about that? NFL.
Kevin, what do you think they're going to do with that first round pick? And who's quarterback at the beginning of the next season?
Honestly, Adam Gase could be fucking quarterback at the beginning of the season. I wouldn't be surprised.
Kind of like really enjoy seeing that, to be honest.
With this CTE demential man like holding this franchise hostage, who the hell knows? Deshaun Watson now as a football player is good. We've seen that. There's no denying it. Would it make sense to go get him? No, I mean, you had Russell Wilson, so why? Like, why? That's all I have to say. Honestly, it could be Willis. I watched his tape. That's another thing that, like, as a Seahawks fan, why should I be watching quarterback freaking college football tape?
I've already passed my film watching. I glossed over quarterbacks. I didn't even think.
I'm gonna have more of a probably in like 2 weeks. I'm gonna give you a little bit more because I'm gonna have more tape to watch and more like stuff to look at. Because like I wasn't expecting to have to look at a fucking college quarterback tape. Like
I really just glossed over it. I looked at some wide receivers, but I just glossed over it. I didn't really look at
what now. Does it fit Pete's thing, Willis? Yes, because one, he has a cannon. We saw it today on the. If you watch his footage, he has a cannon, and it's not bad. Like it's fairly accurate, but he's also at LU. Like he's at Liberty, playing not many.
A lot of people are talking though that like the first quarterback's going to go in like the 20s. Like
this is not a quarterback draft.
Yeah, so like I would be okay probably taking Willis in like the second, but do you really need to do it 9th overall on a guy that's not?
I think it'll really depend on what happens between now and the draft. Like there's if they don't sign a guy, then I think they'll draft a quarterback. Like I just one way or another after the draft they're gonna have their starting quarterback. I think.
Yeah, but like,
and it's not Drew Lock. It's not Geno Smith.
I think
Geno Smith's not on the roster. Drew Lock's the only one on the roster. Geno Smith's a free agent. Yeah, like if they have a second round pick that's high, you don't think Willis like could even fall that far?
It's a possibility.
It's possible, but
because right now he's projected to still be there for the Broncos in the round 2.
But I feel like it's kind of like a situation with the 49ers last year where they moved up to 3 and they wanted their guy. And that's who they picked.
Yeah, I get that, but and you got it. Like obviously things change on the day, you know, like with how it's feeling here. But like a lot of guys drafted early aren't gonna take a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like maybe the Panthers at 6.
It's Pete Carroll. When does Pete Carroll follow protocol?
I know. The Falcons at 8. They take the Matt Ryan
replacement. We took a second to third round pick with our first round pick in Brooks. Now, as he panned out, sure, kind of, but like, could we have gotten Brooks in the second round that year and still got somebody in the first? Yeah. Like, it's Pete Carroll is going to get what Pete Carroll wants. Like he doesn't pay attention to structure and things that make sense.
For 2 years, it worked really well, and then it hasn't worked well.
Yeah, but like. Was a little bit of a luck in there and help of Schneider, and because he was more
the draft is mostly luck. Like
well, there is a lot of luck that happens in the draft. But my issue, like we were talking kind of on the thing is, it's more I just want them, like what Kevin's saying is I want them on the right track with the position that they need to draft at the time which they need to draft it. Like in the first round, do you need to be taking a Rashad Penny and an off-ball linebacker? No, you probably should be drafting O-lineman during that.
Who's the number 9 prospect? Let me see this. Let me look.
Like things like that. Like draft a guy that is a position of need that is gonna go at the position. Like you don't need to be drafting a tight end in the first round at 9 Seattle. If they draft a tight end, it's probably stupid, regardless of who they take.
So the number 9 ranked prospect on ESPN is Kayvon Thibodeau of Oregon.
Yeah, the defensive end. I don't know if he's gonna drop that far, to be honest. I've heard he will drop that far, but I think he'll go before then. He looks like I would love for them to actually draft him to take him,
I'll just list off numbers 7 through 12, general area. Number 7, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback, LSU. Yeah. Number 8, Drake London, wide receiver, USC. Number 10, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State. And number 10 was Garrett Wilson. Number 11, Trayvon Walker, defensive end, Georgia. And number 12, Jermaine Johnson, the second defensive end, Florida State.
It's a very good defense draft. So that's why QBs are kind of like, you know, it's.
And you guys say Pete's a defensive guy, so maybe that's what he's thinking here. Maybe he's trying to bolster his defense as much as possible.
If you think you could trade up at the end of the first, or if Willis has to go, in the beginning, that's fine. Like I said with Kevin when I tweeted me at times, I'm okay with if you want to swing for Willis, just say screw it. Like he's the one guy, like Kevin. I don't know about you, Kevin. I've seen a little bit of quarterback tape. I haven't seen a lot because I didn't think I'd be looking at it. But Willis is the only guy that like really has any sort of ceiling that I think is any good. I think everybody else is kind of like a Mac Jones in this draft. But Willis is the only guy who, in my opinion, could kind of pop a little bit.
The only two that I've seen, which is today, because like I said, I didn't think I needed to watch quarterback tape before this, are Willis and then the Ole Miss guy that they showed talking to Pete. Yeah. His tape was just average to me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like with all these guys. Like
now,
and right behind Willis in the rankings is Kenny Pickett of Pitt. So
Kenny Pickett was the number 1 guy coming in, and then Willis kind of overtook him a little bit, or depending on who you talk to during the combine.
From what I've seen from tape. Okay, so because let's go back to like the whole thing about John and Pete being kind of interested in Josh Allen back when Josh Allen was thinking about being drafted, and the whole controversy because they like, I think without looking at anybody else, and I'll come back and if I see somebody else, I'll say it later on another podcast. But Willis is the closest thing to that, minus the size. He's 6'1".
Yeah,
he's 6'1" and like 225,
215 is what they have him listed before. So
some of the now I've seen highlight videos. I'm going to go back and watch actual tape to look at his errors. But from highlight videos, he has a fucking cannon. Like in the combine, he threw it from the 10-yard line and got it out to the 30.
Yeah.
That's
he pulled a Herbert, as they call it. Yeah.
Which is not, I mean, and that's the thing though. Like, and DK even mentioned it too. It's like great, but then you get predictable of run, deep ball, run, deep ball.
It is nice to have that strength though. That is a strength you can't teach somebody who just doesn't have it. Like,
but if you, I mean, honestly too, if you got a guy that like a DS Cridge that can beat guys out there, then hell yeah, go do it.
Yeah.
But
I need to know, and Kevin's point is you need to be able to like,
it's got to be.
It's more important. Like, how do you throw a 10-yard slant? That honestly, that's more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I need to kind of, because a lot of his highlights were just kind of deep bombs, and I want to see more of that intermediate stuff.
Yep.
He has good scrambling. I'm not saying he has Mahomes' arm. Don't get me wrong here. He did do a couple of Mahomes style passes and Josh Allen passes to where like on the run, he just kind of chuck, gets it in to like with a nice 5-yard route. Now, nothing crazy like Mahomes has done where he's like throwing it 30 yards, freaking opposite direction down fucking field that everybody just thinks that Russell can do, which is no. That's
but
Mahomes.
You're seeing more quarterbacks like that come out, like the Herberts and the Allens and the Mahomes, is they've kind of like, they're the super mega cannon arms on the mobile cannon arms. Like guys like that didn't happen. Russell was kind of like that light. I
think you're seeing more guys trying to because they know that's what people are looking for. So they're like, well, I got to practice these throws. Like I got to be able to throw across my body.
It's hard to defend. It's hard to
defend doing a bootleg out right and then throw across my body to the left, like 25 yards downfield, like at a diagonal slant. Like, good vision downfield, but like I said, I've only seen like 3 highlight videos. I will now, over the next process, I will be talking about it on other podcasts, go over what Willis is and what other quarterback prospects are and other defensive people too, because what they should do, should they get like a beast defensive end that could potentially be like a TJ Watt or something like that, or a lockdown corner, like a number 1 corner that we needed ever since Sherman left, or technically O-line too. I mean, yes, would it be a slap in the face to get O-line, but should you stray away from it? No, you should still get an O-line because you still want to protect whoever the fuck you have behind center. Like you don't have Russell Wilson back there anymore, so you better hope whoever back there has some wheels. I mean, if it is Deshaun Watson, we all know Deshaun Watson has wheels. The dude's taking more hits than Russell. Russell's played longer, so. But you know what I mean, in a cumulative span of if you added them together.
You have a lot of needs and trying to just fix one. And also, I want to point out, if the guy doesn't do not force the quarterback being taken. Find the right quarterback being taken. If you don't, if your guy goes of like Willis is your guy, Seattle, and he goes to Atlanta at like pick before, don't panic and take the next quarterback, because again, this isn't a great quarterback draft. The next guy, there's very few guys that I'm comfortable Seattle taking with at the quarterback position. Like Kevin said, I'll probably look more closely, but Willis is really the only guy that pops for me. And if he's gone, then I'm not forcing it. I'm taking, like Kevin says, we have a lot of O-line needs. We have a lot of D-line needs. This is a beast D-line draft. Take a D-line guy, and then next year or in the offseason with all the money, address the quarterback need. But like,
even if you find, let's say they take Willis, for example.
Yeah.
Even if you take Willis, we're still going to suck this year, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to suck. We'll be lucky if we get 7 wins this year. Let's have to come to Jesus moment, 12s. I will be shocked and fucking awed with all of you if we get 7 wins this season.
The NFC West is going to be very hard for Seahawks to win some games the next year.
Plus we play what? We play the Packers, we play Chiefs, we play the AFC West, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
We unfortunately do. We play Russell Wilson.
Yeah, we're gonna play Russell Wilson. We're gonna play freaking.
We play
Chargers.
Herbert, we play Mahomes. We play Russell Wilson.
Honestly, the Raiders now, and
the Raiders are not a bad team. It's just unfortunate.
No, they're not. They're just kind of like the small run now with all those 3 big quarterbacks and Herbert.
Compared to any other division, they'd be sitting okay. Like no second best team, but they unfortunately have those 3 monsters in the division.
They're not going to be able to do that 8-8 slip in anymore. Like,
yeah. Raiders, you really should have made a move this year because unfortunately your division just got a whole hell of a lot harder.
Yeah. It's even if we get our guy, it's still going to suck. So like, as Sean mentioned, don't panic if Willis goes. Like, you're going to have to find something down the line. Like maybe Deshaun's, works out, even though he's kind of a piece of poop. But like, even though he is, let's talk about that for a second. Cause like, so you have Aaron Rodgers just signed for 4 years. We've seen after this year, he's the complete pile of poop. But the Green Bay Packers get it. They get that they're not going to win without him. Like, you're not going to get to NFC championships and possibility of beyond without Aaron Rodgers.
Are you guys against maybe taking one of those later picks or a second round pick, just a second round pick, and trading for like 2 years of Jimmy G, just as like a solid quarterback?
I'm honestly not opposed to it at all.
Just
Not
like,
at all.
again, Kevin, you're gonna suck, but like he's.
I know. I saw a tweet earlier about that too.
NFL
Some guy was like,
quarterback.
"We're gonna have Jimmy G as a quarterback, aren't we?"
I said that
Or
in
like-
one of my other
or-
group chats.
Or
because
a guy like that. It doesn't have to necessarily be him, but a guy, because I just know Jimmy G's available, so you know what I mean. Like,
Well,
everyone-
yeah,
so, like someone
I'm
like
not
that,
saying
and
Jimmy
it-
G is great, but
but it gives you some time for like
he knows
it's,
how to play
it's more
football.
of like it's more of like a DK and a D Eskridge like buffer, Kevin. Like, hey, look, this is our stopgap, and we're waiting because like you could
I
sell
wouldn't
as like,
mind
look,
it.
we didn't get our Willis pick, but we got a guy who's doesn't totally
Yeah.
suck. Jimmy D is not great, but he doesn't totally suck, and
No.
we're waiting to get the guy next.
If it's a guy like him or like Matt Ryan, because I imagine that
Yeah,
the Falcons are going to move on this year.
because they want to dump that salary. Yeah, like
yeah. So if it's
somebody
got
like
if it's got like
that.
Matt Ryan or him or like
that isn't great, but like
Phil-
is
like,
good
if
enough.
it's like a Philip, like the Colts did with Philip.
Yeah,
Rivers.
yeah.
Is Kyler Murray
It's-
disgruntled?
He added all those Cardinal pictures
I
back.
know, I saw that. Maybe he's still
Unfortunately.
disgruntled and he's like,
he
oh,
tweeted
maybe
at me.
I'll...
He tweeted at me at times.
I
Just
know,
then,
I
too,
saw
which,
that,
which was pretty funny. But
yeah, it's just get what this. You now have the picks that you want.
You got
So
8.
even though
So-
I don't trust Pete to make the good picks, I don't trust him. But now this is the formula. Like, this is what he's wanted. So it's like, you better do your thing or get the heck out. Even though if it doesn't work out, we're still screwed, because like then we're even worse off. We have to hope as Seahawks fans that Pete gets very lucky and nails some picks. Which I mean, I'm not going to say he's complete total booty at it. He's gotten a couple so far. I mean, Brooks seems like it's going to pan out. Barton seems like it'll pan out to be good, but like, you got to hit home runs. You have to hit home runs. I'm not saying get the 2012 draft again, but you got to get pretty damn close.
you got to
the
get at least
2012 draft.
one really good player in the next draft or two. Like elite,
Yeah.
well, probably 2 of them. If it's not a quarterback, you've got to hit a couple monster picks.
Yeah, you do. Because or else what is this all for?
Like the Colts, you got to get a Leonard and a Quentin Nelson. You've got to hit a couple monster picks because that's what's
Mhm.
carrying those guys right now because they don't have that quarterback.
God, and for the love of God, Pete, let John help you. Like, I trust John more than I trust
And
Pete.
for the love of God, I'm going to throw this out before we leave. Don't sign Carson Wentz. Like, please don't sign Carson Wentz. I don't want to live in a world where we have a Drew Lock and Carson Wentz battle for we went 10 years or plus of Russell Wilson to then go a Carson Wentz Drew Lock battle at quarterback. It's like eating steak and then having 2 a.m. Burger King. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I'm not in this scenario. I'm not drunk. So
is Burger King open at 2 a.m. where you
I
live?
don't know.
Because, okay, all right.
That's also kind of the problem. Like you're
yeah,
at
that's
2
true.
a.m.,
If Burger
you're
King's
like,
open at 2 a.m.,
are you
you're
open
not
it?
buying from there.
Are you open and the guy at the drive-thru goes kind of, and then you eat whatever he gives you? Like, yeah, like that's the problem.
They
That's
used
what
to be.
Drew Lock and Carson Wentz is. Like,
It's bad.
All right. Well, let us know what you think the Seahawks will do with that number 9 overall pick. Now go into us. I'm at Beers Matt. Sean is at Sean Scobetti. Kev's at Kev Believe the first thing he believes being a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Thank you for turning into this emergency podcast because there are lots of them I'm sure you could listen to. So
shout out
thank
to
you
JT.
for that.
JT's
Shout out to JT for not being able to make it, but we'll get
giving
him
us the
back on.
idea and then not being here.
Yeah, we'll get him back on and we'll get his thoughts on this. But Hang in there, Seahawks fans. And just so you know, the best team in Seattle is currently up 2-0 on Lyon in the CONCACAF quarterfinals. So positives.
Mhm.
All right. And with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.